Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're uncovering a massive cosmic conspiracy hidden right in plain sight. If you've ever looked at ancient texts and thought, they're just dry, boring lists of who begot whom, well, you are in for an incredible surprise. We're looking at a specific ancient genealogical text from the epic Mahabharata. And what reads on the surface like a basic catalog of ancient kings, it's actually a classified dossier exposing a secret, otherworldly war.
Okay, let's dive into this. The text we're analyzing today answers this exact question with a resounding yes. This isn't just a story about ancient royal families squabbling over land. Not at all. It reveals that the mortal heroes and villains you might already know were, in fact, cosmic entities operating in deep cover. This incredibly dense list of names is basically a decoder ring, showing us exactly which gods, demons, and celestial beings secretly infiltrated the mortal realm.
Section 1. The Cosmic Conspiracy. To really understand the stakes here, we have to look at the adversaries. We're talking about the Asuras, the Danavas, and the Rakshasas. These are ancient, tremendously powerful entities who have basically always been at odds with the Celestials. But they didn't just fly down from the sky in a blaze of glory to fight. No, according to the text, they orchestrated a massive, covert infiltration. They literally split off portions of their own essence to be born into the earthly realm as human royalty. They became earthly kings, generals, and princes, quietly taking over the geopolitical landscape of the earth from the inside out.
Section 2. Demons in Royal Disguise.
Now, we aren't going to read every single name here because the text literally lists dozens upon dozens of them, but let's focus on some of the heavy hitters. The great Danava Viprachitti, he was born as the fearsome king Jarasandha. The mighty Hiranyakasipu incarnated as the powerful Sisupala. And the great Asura Kalanemi, who was known for his massive strength, became known on Earth as Kansa. The sheer volume of this invasion meant that Earth's thrones were literally occupied by demonic forces in disguise. It's wild to think about.
And the numbers? They just get more terrifying. 100. The text reveals that a staggering century of wicked brothers, headed by Duryodhana, were not just cruel human princes. They were actually the incarnated sons of the Rakshasa Pulastia. Imagine facing an entire royal family, 100 brothers strong, and realizing you're actually looking at a whole battalion of Rakshasas.
But the true tension of this overarching conflict is perfectly captured in the epic's central rivalry. On one side, we have the evil-minded king Duryodhana. The text explicitly states he was born of a portion of Kali, the dark, relentless force of destruction. He was literally the spark that fanned the flames of hostility that ultimately consumed the earth. Standing against him is King Yudhishthira, who the text identifies as a portion of Dharma, the very embodiment of justice, virtue, and cosmic order. So this isn't just a petty political rivalry, right? It's the fundamental clash of cosmic destruction versus cosmic justice, all wrapped up in mortal flesh.
Section 3. The Celestial Counterattack.
So, with the Earth completely overrun by Asuras and Rakshasas, the forces of light had to act. And man, what a response it was. The Celestials deployed their own heavy hitters to maintain the balance of power. The mighty Pandava brothers and their wife Draupadi were the ultimate celestial countermeasure. Get this, Bhimasena was a portion of the wind deity. Arjuna, the legendary warrior, was a portion of Indra, the chief of the Celestials himself. The incredibly handsome twins, Nakula and Sahadeva, were portions of the twin Aswins. And the faultless Draupadi? She was born of a portion of Sachi, the queen of the Celestials. The board was now totally set for the ultimate rematch.
But behind the scenes, not all the gods were exactly eager to send their kids to the front lines. The text tells us about Soma, the god of the moon, who threw an absolute celestial tantrum when asked to send his beloved son Varchas down to Earth. He basically said, "No way, I cannot part with my son, he's dearer to me than life itself." He only agreed to the deployment under a strict, totally non-negotiable contract. Varchas would go down to Earth and become the mighty warrior Abhimanyu, but he had a hard limit of exactly 16 years. At 16, he would penetrate an impenetrable enemy formation, achieve massive destruction, and immediately return to his father.
And it wasn't just individual gods sending a son or a piece of themselves. Entire celestial battalions mobilized. The Marut tribe of gods incarnated en masse to bolster the earthly defenses. They took the form of legendary kings and warriors like Satyaki, Drupada, Kritavarman, and Virata. The gods were literally flooding the mortal realm with their own forces to counter those Asura kings.
Section 4. Sage, Wildcards, and Legends.
Of course, any great chess match has its unpredictable elements, right? Not everyone fit perfectly onto the black or white squares of this board. Take the tragic and fascinating origin of Karna, for instance. His story is an absolute masterclass in how divine intervention complicates human lives. First, Pritha, who is also known as Kunti, serves the wrathful ascetic Rishi Vrihaspati so well that he grants her a mantra capable of summoning literally any celestial. Seized with curiosity, she uses it to summon Surya, the Lord of Light. This results in the secret birth of a child who is born already wearing natural armor and earrings. Fearing what her relatives would think, Kunti casts the radiant infant into the water, where he's eventually adopted by a Sudha couple and grows up to be Karna, one of the greatest warriors to ever walk the earth.
Let's see how this builds, because celestial politics directly interfered with Karna's life in a huge way. Indra, wanting to protect his own son Arjuna, assumed the disguise of a Brahmana and went straight to Karna, begging for his invincible natural armor and earrings. And Karna, who was famous for his ultimate generosity, actually took them off and gave them away. Indra was so surprised by this incredible open-handedness that he rewarded him with an infallible dart, a weapon absolutely guaranteed to slay any being he hurled it at. This is cosmic manipulation at its absolute finest, actively shifting the balance of power on the earthly battlefield.
And the origins of these other legendary figures, they're just as complex, springing from ascetic curses and these massive abstract forces of nature. Just take a second to let these origins sink in. The brilliant Drona sprang from the celestial Rishi Vrihaspati. His terrifying son Ashwatthama wasn't just one god, he was born of the united portions of Mahadeva, Yama, Kama, and Krodha, basically making him a walking weapon of combined divine wrath. Bhishma was the incarnation of the 8 Vasus, forced into human birth by a sage's curse. And Shakuni, the ultimate trickster, he wasn't even a person at all. He was the actual embodiment of the Dwapara Yuga, the third age of time itself. Unbelievable.
With a board this chaotic and stakes this astronomically high, the supreme power itself had to step in. The text explains that Narayana, the eternal god of gods, incarnated as Vasudeva, who we know as Krishna. And he didn't come alone. The great Naga Sesha took a portion of himself to become the incredibly strong Valadeva. The ultimate power was officially on the board to ensure the destruction of the Asuras and the preservation of cosmic order.
Section 5. The Ultimate Grand Design. So, what does this all mean? Why does learning about this hidden, classified dossiers of the gods actually matter to us? Well, the text claims that simply understanding this vast, hidden cosmic architecture changes you. By learning about the true nature of creation, preservation, and destruction, the hearer acquires a deep, profound wisdom. You realize that earthly tragedies are actually part of a much larger divine choreography. And because of that perspective, the text promises that you will never be cast down, even under the most engrossing sorrows. It grants this ultimate, unwavering resilience.
Which leaves us with this final thought for today's explainer. We've seen how the source text reframes a massive human war as a hidden game of cosmic chess, played by celestial and demonic forces in disguise. It makes you wonder, if the greatest epic of the ancient world was operating on these hidden layers, are our own modern conflicts, our own struggles and rivalries, just echoes of older, unseen forces? It's a fascinating lens through which to view history, and it definitely leaves you questioning the unseen layers of our own reality. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep questioning what's beneath the surface.